When financial institutions need to go get cash, they need that cash to be there available to them. In September of 2019, financial institutions went to go get cash and it was not there. They do this primarily through the repo market. Overnight, they go to other financial institutions and say, hey, I've got some treasuries. Can I have some cash? Normally that works fine until everybody goes with their collateral, the treasuries, tries to get cash and there is none. That's why the Federal Reserve had to step in and provide that liquidity themselves, which is why their balance sheet started increasing again. This is the type of thing that Jamie Dimon is talking about when he says he expects a kerfuffle that will make the Fed start to panic. Now, he also said that this is due to all the rules and regulations that financial institutions face today. And part of this is true as well. When financial institutions do something that people don't like, governments come in and say, you can't do that anymore. But those financial institutions will then say, okay, we need to find ways to make money still. So within the rules that we have set, we're going to find different creative ways to make money. Usually that involves levering up on those things that are still allowed, which causes hidden risk in the system that blows up all at once. Now, this last piece that Jamie Dimon said is something that I've been predicting for a long time, primarily because people like him are talking about trying to make it happen. He is advocating for bank rule change, including exempting treasuries from the supplementary leverage ratio in order to avoid a repeat of the 2020 treasury market seizure and allow banks to become more active intermediaries in markets. Right now, banks are restricted on how many treasuries they can buy. They hit their risk limits because treasuries can go down in price, which is what happens when yields increase, which means if the bank has to sell that treasury, they might be selling it at a loss. Now you say, wait, treasuries are supposed to be risk-free. As long as they can hold on to them until maturity, there's no risk, right? You're absolutely right. But that as long as they can hold on to them until maturity piece is a really big piece, because if there's a bank run and everybody tries to get their deposits back, well, the banks have to sell the assets that they have to free up the cash. And if those assets are worth less than when the bank bought them, then they're out of luck. And so one restriction that was placed on banks was how many treasuries they're allowed to buy in the first place. So making this rule change would absolutely allow banks to buy more treasuries. But it doesn't solve the issue all by itself. You would also need an explicit or at least an implicit guarantee by the Fed that if something were to happen in terms of a bank run, that the bank could temporarily sell those treasuries to the Fed for full price. So the Fed could hold on to them until maturity, or the bank could purchase them back from the Fed at a future point in time.